everyone, and welcome to Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, a 27-year veteran of the NYPD. After nearly 14 months, there has been an arrest made in a very unusual case. Basically, was three friends go to another friend's home to watch a Kansas City Chiefs game. This was on the 7th of January, 2024. And as a result of recreational drug use, three of these individuals who you see up on the screen, Ricky Johnson, Clayton McGeeney, and David Harrington, all died from the ingestion, what's now determined to be the ingestion of cocaine and fentanyl. And two individuals, and this took almost 14 months. Here you see the persons right here. Jordan Willis, who was the person of record of this rental home where this get-together, this party took place. He, Jordan Willis, and Ivory Carson, the gentleman next to him, are both facing charges in the deaths of the three friends, actually, of Jordan Willis. Everyone that followed this case was very, very impatient. What's going on? These three individuals, no one knew really their cause of death. It was thought that they froze to death when they were found in the yard of Jordan Willis's home. But now we have answers, and we're going to give you these answers and why it took so long to bring justice to this case. So folks, hold on to your hats, hold on to your loved ones, hold on to your service dog, hold on to your cup of coffee, your glass of wine. You're about to enter true crime from a police perspective. You're about to enter the off the cuff zone, the police off the cuff zone.
There has to be some common sense.
They were the ones who called 911 to get him help, and now they're calling for change.
And now a word from our sponsor. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds of everything from NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC. BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every three-pointer to hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Also, folks, we have Mando whole body detergent. And that is a new product. The thing I like most about Mando body deodorant is that it lasts all day and leaves me feeling cool and fresh. Most deodorants stop working after a certain amount of time, or under hot and steamy conditions, they fail. Mando fights the conditions and the odor from perspiration. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code POLICE, capital POLICE, at shopmando.com. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Police Off the Cuff. So, folks, again, this story is just so tragic. Young men, 30, 35, 37 years old. And now, after all this time, an arrest has been made. And how important was this for the families of these men? Police have charged 2 men in connection with the death of 3 Kansas City Chief fans whose bodies were found following a watch party in January last year. According to an arrest warrant, Ivory Carson and Jordan Willis, who we showed you in an earlier photograph, that's Jordan Willis on the left and Ivory Carson on the right of the thumbnail that's on the screen. They faced 3 counts each of involuntary manslaughter and 2 counts of delivering a controlled substance in relation to the deaths of Ricky Johnson, Clayton McGeeney, and David Harrington, 3 friends since high school. Police found the bodies in the backyard of a house on Northwest 83rd Terrace in the city, January 9th, 2024. Autopsies revealed that all 3 men died of combined cocaine and fentanyl toxicity. A probable cause statement accused the defendants of recklessly causing the deaths. Each charge carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Carson is already in custody in Platte County with a $100,000 case bond, while Willis has told police he will surrender to authorities and will post a $100,000 cash bond. This case is a tragic reminder of the dangers of street drugs. Platte County Prosecutor Eric Zahn told a news conference Wednesday. But make no mistake, the people who supply those drugs can and will be held accountable when people overdose. McGeeney's fiancée told police that the 3 men went to Jordan Willis's house to watch the game January 7th. When she couldn't contact McGeeney, she went to the house after spotting McGeeney's pickup truck outside. No one came to the door, and the witness entered the house through a basement window. She found a body on the back patio and called police. The temperatures dropped below freezing on the night of the game. Witnesses told police that they saw the victims consuming drugs January 7th, including alcohol and marijuana, and text messages show that the men had agreed to be supplied with drugs. And after obtaining a warrant to search the house, police found 2 plastic bags containing white powdery substances. Testing revealed that one was cocaine and one was fentanyl. Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves told the news conference, "This is a message to those who are bringing fentanyl into our communities, providing it to people, harming communities. You will be held accountable, you will be arrested, and you will be charged." Both police and prosecutors acknowledged the investigation had taken 14 months to lead to charges, but said that they had not given up on the case. It takes time to bring these cases. There were additional investigative things that needed to be wrapped up before this case could be brought. So this is so tragic. You know, what was and by the way, that was from NBC News, that blurb that I just read. People going to a friend's home to watch a football game, and recreational, as it becomes known to say, I don't know if there's such a thing as recreational drug use, and 3 friends wind up dying from this. Three friends that, you know, were enjoying a football game, and they wind up dying, which of course is the last thing on everyone's mind, probably even including the people who were charged. Absolutely outrageous.
Men now face charges in Platte County in the deaths of 3 men found frozen behind a Northland home more than a year ago. I'm John Holt.
I'm Lauren Halifax. They were at a friend's house to watch a Chiefs game. One friend is one of the 2 men charged. Fox 4's Malik Jackson has been on the story since it broke. He's in Platte City tonight. Malik, any response from the victims' families?
Yeah, I've spoken with several members of these men's families, and they tell me this is a huge relief off of their shoulder, huge weight off of their shoulder, more than a year after this all transpired right here in Platte County. We do now know that 2 men, Jordan Willis and Ivory Carson, have been charged each with 2 counts of distribution of a controlled substance and 3 counts of involuntary manslaughter in the deaths of Ricky Johnson, Clayton McGeeney, and David Harrington.
Today's charges are the product of hard work of Kansas City detectives and prosecutors over those many months.
14 months after this case got national attention, it's now one step closer to its conclusion. On Wednesday, the Platte County Prosecutor's Office announced 5 felony charges against 2 men, Ivory Carson and Jordan Willis. Willis for purchasing and Carson for supplying the drugs that led to the death of Clayton McGinney, Ricky Johnson, and David Harrington.
Members of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department do not give up on these investigations. While this happened a year ago, our detectives continue to work on this case to get it to the point that we're at today.
The state says the 3 men gathered together with friends at Harrington's home. Then the party moved to Willis's home, where drugs, including cocaine, fentanyl, and marijuana, were used. The men were not heard from for almost 2 days until McGinney's fiance arrived at Willis's home, where she discovered one body and called the police. The other 2 bodies were later found, all 3 outside in the backyard of the home Willis was renting. Both men now face up to 50 years behind bars if convicted in this case.
This case is a tragic reminder of the dangers of street drugs. But make no mistake, the people who supply those drugs can and will be held accountable.
In a statement, the father of Ricky Johnson, Rick Johnson, tells me, "I am happy with the Platte County Prosecutor's Office and the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department for filing these charges. It's been a long time, and I'll be at every court date." We also reached out to Willis's attorney, John Percerno, who has not shied away from the camera for a response to these charges after saying multiple times that his client would not be charged, and we haven't heard back by the time of this report.
So this, again, is such a hugely tragic case. When you think about, for the families of these men, that they had to wait 14 months for just this level of justice. And the justice I'm speaking about is the arrest of these 2 men, Jordan Willis and Ivory Carson. Jordan Willis happens to be a very close friend of Ricky Johnson, Clayton McGinney, and David Harrington. So it's like recreational drug use, but realize when something tragic like this occurs that people will be held accountable. And in this case, it's these 2 individuals, one for purchasing the drugs, and that would have been Jordan Willis, and one for supplying the drugs, and that would be Ivory Carson. So now they're facing potentially up to 50 years. Officials confirmed Chiefs fans died from cocaine and fentanyl toxicity. That was, when this first occurred, that was a huge question. How did they die? How did these seemingly healthy men that just went to a party, went to a football game, as many of us do, and as a result of that, they lost their lives. This is from Law and Crime about a year ago.
Spontaneously caused these individuals to have fallen over dead.
The Kansas City Chiefs are headed back to the Super Bowl, but 3 major fans won't be around to see the big game. Did they freeze to death, or was it something more sinister?
Yeah, this case out of Kansas City is arguably one of the more baffling cases that I've come across this year so far, even in 2023, by that standard.
Forensic death investigator Joseph Scott Morgan says there's still many unanswered questions in this case.
Did anything occur within that home that may have led to this? Did they ingest something? Did they smoke something? Was something injected? And absent that, then there's going to be a long road to go down.
To predict where the case is headed, we have to head back to the start when a group of Kansas City fans got together to watch the last game of the regular season, the Chiefs matchup against the Chargers on January 7th. The group included 38-year-old Ricky Johnson, 37-year-old David Harrington, and 36-year-old Clayton McGinney, who had all attended high school together. The night of the game, Jordan Willis hosted a watch party that the trio attended. Willis was renting a home on the north side of Kansas City. A 5th friend was also at the home that night, Alex Weimer Lee. He also went to high school with the group. According to Weimer Lee's attorney, he left the house at about midnight when the other men were watching Jeopardy! It wasn't until 2 days later, on January 9th, when the bodies of Johnson, Harrington, and McGeaney were found outside.
It's super bizarre because what you don't think about is three apparently healthy guys. I don't know anything about their medical history, but seemingly, they're in their 30s, robust males, and all of a sudden, all three of them drop dead, roughly in the same, approximating one another. I mean, not separated by yards or miles, but by feet, in an enclosed backyard.
It was McGeaney's fiance who raised the alarm after she hadn't heard from him in several days. She found his body in the backyard of the home after noticing his phone pinged in the location. The bodies of Johnson and Harrington were also recovered. The whole incident left behind just one sole survivor, Jordan Willis, whose attorney says he was asleep for the 2 days after the game on January 7th until the bodies were recovered on January 9th. He says he fell asleep and was asleep for 2 days, didn't notice these dead bodies outside because he was asleep. What do you make of that? What would cause him to be asleep for 48 hours?
The answer to that question, I think, is potentially the same agent that worked upon the individuals in the backyard. How in the world does someone lose 48 hours of their life? I don't know that he was, because when you're doing a death investigation and you begin to try to understand the dynamics of the environment in which an individual.
So Jordan Willis, who you see in this, who was the person of record for this home where the alleged party took place. These three, Ricky Johnson, Clayton McGeaney, and David Harrington, they lose their lives. Now, my question is, it's been shown that they lost their lives over cocaine and fentanyl toxicity. And if it's true that Jordan Willis slept for 48 hours, did he simply not die? Did he do the same amount of drugs as Ricky Johnson, Clayton McGeaney, and David Harrington? Or did they die from a combination of things? Let's not forget, they were found outside in the backyard in freezing temperatures. Did that contribute to their death? Did they freeze to death, or was the cause of death, I believe, is being listed as cocaine toxicity? Chiefs fans died from cocaine and fentanyl toxicity. So is it true, or is it sort of a defense that Jordan Willis slept for 48 hours straight? And is that maybe why he lived? Because he was inside, he was not outside. Was it like a huge drug and alcohol hangover? That's questionable.
Is in when they're found. You have to consider everything. So was there some kind of an agent that he could have ingested along with them that would put him into the same state? However, his one saving grace, and this is, I'm just hypothesizing here, but if we look at this from this perspective, his one saving grace is that he was sheltered. He was in an environment that is going to maintain that core body temperature.
So far, investigators in Kansas City have said that this is not a murder investigation. They're saying that Jordan Willis is not a suspect in this. He's been cooperative. No charges have been filed against him. There's no suspicion of foul play. Is that accurate? I mean, did they jump to conclusions? Should they be taking a closer look at everything that potentially there is foul play?
There's a checklist that we go through as death investigators. And what I teach my students at both the university where I teach and police academy is that every death is a homicide until proven otherwise. So I wonder from their perspective, because I'm not there, I wonder if it met that standard. And so they've checked homicide off of their list, and now they're kind of going down the list till they're going to land at a location that seems reasonable.
What sort of factors would go into them proving that it wasn't a homicide already this early on?
Well, I think probably the most glaring thing, first off, where you're going to start is absence of trauma, presence or absence of trauma. So is there an indication that any of these individuals may have been beaten, subdued, or sustained any kind of injury? And we haven't heard anything like that as to this point.
So why would Johnson, Harrington, and McGeaney act so out of character? The big question mark for me, though, is that these three men went outside and they didn't come back inside. If they were chilly, if they were feeling cold, if they were having any of these symptoms, they could have just walked inside. So is that a mystery part of this story?
Yeah, so it provides us clues in this particular case where there are certain things that we're going to look for. Remember how we had talked about that people just don't spontaneously fall over dead. So there has to be, I think at least, some agent involved here, something that is going on internally, probably at a chemical level, to get an individual, to get three individuals, grown men at this stage in their life, to suddenly collapse and not be able, and this is important, not be able to look out for their own personal welfare.
Morgan says if foul play was ruled out, investigators likely moved on to new theories pretty quickly.
I don't think that, this was, again, we're looking at this case. This is from a year ago, and Joseph Scott Morgan, brilliant death investigator. But the police, premature to say there's no foul play, that Jordan Willis, he's not a suspect. Very premature, because one of the things that we always question is like, oh, when is the evidence coming back? And evidence in this case, the big evidence, of course, was the toxicology, which always takes a long time. So they do the autopsies and then the toxicology, and then proving who bought these drugs and who supplied these drugs. And even though people use drugs recreationally, it's under their own will. No one's forcing them to do drugs. The person that supplied the drugs, both the person that bought the drugs and the person who sold the drugs, can be held accountable. And that is what we see in this case. And just think of the families and how long they have been waiting for this type of justice, because for over a year, they had no justice. They had no justice whatsoever. And now they have, I guess, a semblance of justice. Nothing on earth is going to bring these three men back. Nothing. The only thing that might provide some justice is now the arrest of Jordan Willis and Ivory Carson and the prosecution. And that's, again, never going to bring these three men back. But just think where we were a year ago, and now, out of seemingly nowhere, law enforcement never quit. Prosecutors never quit. They kept working on this case. They kept developing a case. Will they get convictions in these cases? That remains to be seen. This is the prosecutor from the case.
I am Prosecuting Attorney Eric Zahn. With me is Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves, Deputy Chief Doug Niemeyer, Detective Philip Sipple, and Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Colin Van Ostern. We're here today to announce charges against two men for drug distribution and manslaughter in the deaths of Clayton McGeaney, David Harrington, and Ricky Johnson. These three men were found dead outside a Platte County home on January 9, 2024. Today, Jordan Willis and Ivory Carson have been charged with distribution of a controlled substance and 3 counts of involuntary manslaughter. This case has received considerable attention from the media, and I think some people seem to believe that charges may never be brought in this case. People may have doubted this investigation because it has spanned more than a year. But understand this, the Kansas City Police Department and my office do not rest on homicide cases until we have exhausted every possible resource to bring anybody we believe responsible to justice. Today's charges are the product of hard work of Kansas City detectives and prosecutors over those many months. Let me summarize the probable cause statement in this case, and we will have copies of the charging documents, including the entire probable cause statement for you after our statements here. As I've mentioned, Clayton McGeeney, David Harrington, and Ricky Johnson were found dead outside defendant Jordan Willis's home in the 5200 block of Northwest 83rd Terrace in the Platte County portion of Kansas City on January 9. Mr. McGeeney's fiance told police that Mr. McGeeney, Mr. Harrington, and Mr. Johnson had gone to Mr. Willis's home to watch the Kansas City Chiefs football game on January 7th. When she could not contact Mr. McGeeney, she went back to the home on January 9th and found at least one person dead on the back patio. Temperatures had dropped below freezing the night of the Chiefs game. Officers with the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department responded to that scene and found Mr. McGeeney, Mr. Harrington, and Mr. Johnson's bodies in the backyard of the home. Detectives then obtained consent to search the home. They found 2 plastic bags containing white powdery substances. The bags were tested by the Kansas City, Missouri Police Crime Laboratory. One of those bags contained cocaine, and the probable cause statement alleges that Mr. Willis was determined to be the major contributor of DNA found on that bag. The other bag contained fentanyl, and the probable cause statement alleges that Mr. Carson was determined to be the major contributor of DNA on that bag. The probable cause statement also recounts the statement of a witness who said he was at Mr. Harrington's home with Mr. Harrington, Mr. McGeeney, Mr. Johnson, and the defendant, Mr. Willis, the night of the football game, where he saw a large plate of cocaine allegedly supplied by Mr. Willis that everyone was using. The witness said Mr. McGeeney, Mr. Harrington, Mr. Johnson were going to Mr. Willis's home after the football game. Another witness said he was with Mr. McGeeney, Mr. Harrington, Mr. Johnson, and Mr. Willis at Willis's home later that night on January 7th, where they drank, smoked marijuana, and used cocaine. That witness left shortly before midnight. Data recovered from Mr. Harrington's phone allegedly contains text messages between Mr. Harrington, Mr. McGeeney, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Willis, the defendant, Mr. Carson, and others consistent with the purchase and use of cocaine. The messages allegedly indicate that Mr. Carson supplied Mr. Harrington with cocaine. A doctor with Forensic Medical of Kansas found that Mr. McGeeney, Mr. Harrington, and Mr. Johnson all died of fentanyl and cocaine combined toxicity. Mr. Willis and Mr. Carson are both charged with a single count of delivery of a controlled substance and 3 counts of involuntary manslaughter for recklessly causing the deaths of Mr. McGeeney, Mr. Harrington, and Mr. Johnson. Each of those charges carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Mr. Carson is in the Platte County Jail in lieu of a $100,000 cash bond. We have been told that Mr. Willis is going to surrender himself on the warrant issued for his arrest and that he will post a $100,000 cash bond.
So at the end of 14 months, this is what we have arrived at. And there's been very little information that has come out about this case prior to yesterday when they made these arrests. No winners, such a tragic case. 3 counts of manslaughter for each of these men here. One who was the buyer of the drugs, Jordan Willis, and one who the seller, Ivory Carson. They're both being charged with 3 counts of manslaughter for the deaths of Ricky Johnson, Clayton McGeeney, and David Harrington, in addition to other charges. They're eligible for 10 years on each one of those charges. And the other 2 charges, there's possible 50 years. Will they serve 50 years? If convicted, they're innocent until proven guilty. But I think it's good that there has been some, closure for the families who waited 14 months for someone to be arrested in this case. Folks, that's our report for today. I'm Bill Cannon for Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. Have a great day, everyone, and God bless.
One episode just ain't enough.